Good morning. Welcome to Sports Radio 1310, The Ticket. George DeJohn on the Train Station Fitness Show. Next to me is my wonderful friend and many-time guest, Dr. Jeremy Webster. Good morning, my friend.
Good morning, George. Thanks for having me.
On the show today, we have Michael Cole, who is the CEO of Fit Brains, and we're going to talk today about, I teased earlier in the week, I don't know if you heard this, Dr. Webster, about what the one exercise is that could actually change your mood, your IQ. Even, I didn't say this on the air, but even when we talk about depression, people who deal with depression don't realize that there's one thing that you can do, even problem solving, to help you push past all of these different things. Now, we'll take a multi-pronged approach, if you will, by having you hear and some things that Michael will say as well. But let's go ahead and get Michael on the air real fast. Can we do? Is he with us, Dave, or no? He's not with us. We'll do the next segment. Well, that's fine. But some of the things we'll talk about is brain plasticity. We'll talk about nutrition. What did you get? Well, let me back up. Let's not get into that yet. What I do want to talk about in the beginning is, did you play the games?
A little bit, yeah.
I played some of the games on Fit Brains, and we'll tell you where that is. We'll share more about that later. But when you go to fitbrains.com, it was not only educational, but it was fun, and it's one of these family things. Instead of your child just going in front of the computer and you going in front of the TV and your significant other reading the paper and everybody's splitting up, you can do stuff that's together that is fun and educational. And I really like this show today. We're going to talk to you about changing your life through a different way that has nothing to do with physical exercise and has nothing to do with partly to do with nutrition, which plays a huge role as well. But specifically for today's role, what can you say people will get out of challenging their brains? What would you say, 5 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day by this one exercise?
Well, what I can say is, without doubt, the brain is the most important organ in the body, more important than all others, because in fact it controls all other organs in the body. Some things that people might not realize the brain does. It controls your posture. When you have poor brain function, you have poor posture. Look what happens when a person gets old. Their brain function declines, and they start to stoop forward. Their head goes forward. They have rounded shoulders. So those are some simple things. Your blood pressure can stay under control if you keep your brain healthy and fit. As soon as your brain goes, your blood pressure will rise. So these are just a few things. Overall health is very, very dependent on brain health.
If you took an IQ test today, would your IQ score be higher, lower, or the same as it was when you were in school? So is getting older the issue? Is it something bigger? Is it a combination of much more? Let's find out how to stop and or reverse some of those negative effects going on. And even if you're in your 20s, by the way, you start to have brain function decline, I don't know if that's the right way to put that, by age 25. So this show is certainly for you and for everyone listening. Make sure you stay tuned. Michael Cole is calling in 704 Sports Radio 1310 The Ticket.
Make Sports Radio
710 Sports Radio 1310 The Ticket. George DeJohn on the Train Station Fitness Show. Co-host today is Dr. Jeremy Webster in the studio, and also on the phone is Michael Cole, who is the CEO of Fit Brains. Michael, good morning.
Good morning, George. How are you?
I'm great. I know it's 5 o'clock in the morning in California. Thank you for getting up today, but we really need to get this information out. One of the things I talked about for an exercise to change your mood all the way to your IQ and problem solving is something that I think you can really help us understand today, that just because we get older doesn't mean we have to become senile. Just because we have a poor diet doesn't mean, or we have a narrow way of thinking doesn't mean that we can't be broadening our horizons with other forms of learning, and it doesn't take a long period of time to do that during the day. So let's go ahead and move on and talk about what the issue is. Is it getting older? Is it something bigger than that? Is it a combination? Because we know that research shows that our brain decline, our function declines from starting at age 25. We're thinking that we're on top of the world and invincible, but we're actually slowing down or dying, if you will.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, research does show that after the age of 25 that our brain starts to decline. It's just a natural part of aging. I mean, it's just like our body. Our brain muscles start to diminish over time, and our brain needs the right food, the right stimulation, in order to keep it in peak performance. So it's a lot of things that are in our lifestyle that impact the quality of our brain. So stress, a lot of other different things, but our brain needs to be kept in tip-top shape, and there's a lot of different kind of ways that we can do something about it.
What is brain plasticity? I read a little bit about it in Dr. Joe Dispenza's book a while back called Evolve Your Brain. And I absolutely love that book. I've talked about it on the show many, many times. Go ahead and talk about brain plasticity and why people listening to the show right now, driving to the gym, want to listen to this part of the segment and not turn it off. How it affects them today going to the gym to work out.
Well, I mean, brain plasticity is, our brain's ability to change throughout the life. I mean, and, this is something 10 years ago that no one even thought was possible. So now we know that, throughout our lifetime that our brain can change and we can do something about it. So, I mean, just like you're going to the gym and doing something about your body, you can do something about it with your brain.
How does that, Dr. Webster, I want you to chime in on this. How does that affect someone, though, who is interested in how they look? Okay, George, this is a health and fitness show. I know it's not all about muscles and training and nutrition, even though nutrition does play a part in this. How does that help them? What's the compelling part of the show talking about brain plasticity? Why would someone want to continue to listen to this part of the show?
Well, like Michael said, the brain is just like the rest of your body. If you work out your biceps are going to stay strong. And in fact, they can stay strong into your 80s, 90s, and 100s. Well, the brain's the same way. If you stimulate your brain properly and give the brain the proper fuel, it can grow and expand and become more and more healthy all throughout life. When you do so, as I was saying earlier, some of the things associated with brain function are not the things that typically come to mind, like IQ or memory. It could be certain things like capillary filling time, meaning how well your blood flows through your body. If your blood flows through your body, your skin's better, your skin is going to be better. So that could be directly related to brain function. Also, the way that your shoulder angulates forward. If you have poor brain function, you're going to have shoulders that round forward. The better your brain functions, the more erect you're going to be, and the better your shoulder posture is going to be.
I've got a great brain functioning. I'm very erect. Michael, see what I'm getting at? What Dr. Webster talked about? The things that people really want to hear, I feel, it's not only about benefiting your brain, but how does it affect you physically? And if it affects your skin and
your muscle
posture,
tone and your
joints, everything, pain, and also your mood. Now this is, to me, this is a more compelling show, and that's what I want to build it on.
And pain is a good one because the better your frontal lobes are functioning, the less you're going to experience pain from a certain stimulus. When people's brain starts to function poorly, they experience pain where they really shouldn't. Sometimes just light touch can cause a person pain because their brain doesn't perceive sensation properly.
Dr. Joe Dispenza mentions how it's been thought for many years that by a certain age, I don't know if it was in the 20s or when you hit 30, how your mind or your frontal lobe stops growing and stops learning. And that's couldn't be more false, and we found that out about, I guess you say, about 19 years ago, that you learn and can continually stimulate and increase plasticity. Would that be the right way to say that?
Exactly.
Of your frontal lobe until you die. Michael,
Absolutely.
you want to expand upon that?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, we're able to do things. I mean, it's very similar, to back in the 80s when there was a whole movement about physical fitness, and the same thing has been going on over the last kind of 5 years, and that's about that we can do something about our brain and we can change it. And, as you said, the way I look at it is our brain is the CEO of our body. It helps us make good decisions, whether what food we eat, what we do on a daily basis. And so everything, the way we can make it healthy impacts everything in our daily life. And, the great news is we can do something about it.